Some people think that family members are the most important influence on young adults. Others believe that friends are the most important influence. Which do you agree with? Explain why.
Begin to prepare your response after the beep.
בייסיקלי. תארגן לך את זה.
כן.
Begin speaking after the beep.
I think that family members are less important influence on young adults. The main reason is that young adults are most of the time with their friends in school and after school, and they have much more time to get influenced by their friends than by their family members. Also, when you are a young adult, you don't listen too much to your parents, and you like to do stuff that your friends like to do, and not the opposite way. So this is why I think that for example, a friend can have a problem. He will stick with his friends and not with his family members, and he will do something that his friends will tell him to.
Number 3. In this question, you will read a short passage, listen to a talk, and answer a question about them. After you hear the question, you will have 30 seconds to prepare a response and 60 seconds to record the response. The Business Studies Department at State University is creating a new requirement. You have 45 seconds to read the announcement. Begin reading now. Now listen to two students discussing the announcement.
Did you read this announcement?
Yeah, and I disagree. I don't think it will actually help students.
Really? Why not?
Well, they talked about leadership and organizational skills, but that's not really the kind of work you do. Like, my older brothers have the kind of jobs they're talking about, and typically you're just there to do basic tasks like typing or filing stuff. Nothing very meaningful.
Oh, so you wouldn't actually learn anything new.
Exactly.
I guess I see what you mean. But what about the other point they make?
About this helping us after we graduate? I don't agree.
How come?
Well, the problem is that there are lots of other universities in our area that have the same requirement, so there are lots of other students at these positions.
Yeah, I guess I hadn't thought of that.
So even if you take a position like this in a company while you're still a student, once you graduate, the competition for permanent jobs will be impossible. I mean, there just won't be enough jobs available for all the business graduates in the city who will be looking for full-time work.
I see what you're saying.
The woman expresses her opinion of the university's new policy. State her opinion and explain the reasons she gives for holding that opinion.
Begin to prepare your response after the beep. Begin speaking after the beep.
The woman expresses her opinion about the university new policy. I think that the university new policy is that every student in the business major has to have a background of work experience to go there. The students doesn't agree with this. The reason is because in the work experience they do basic stuff and they are not really experienced in new stuff. They can't learn new stuff in there. And also she says that after you graduate there are too many students that will compete on a permanent job once they will graduate. And hence they can't have much.
Number 4. In this question, you will read a short passage, listen to a talk, and answer a question about them. After you hear the question, you will have 30 seconds to prepare a response and 60 seconds to record the response. Read the passage from a film studies textbook. You will have 50 seconds to read the passage. Begin reading now. Now listen to part of a lecture on this topic in a film class.
So, the other day I went to this great new movie, and one of the scenes in particular I thought was really set up nicely. At the start of the scene, before the action and talking and things started, you saw on the movie screen an image of a city. Now, you could tell it was a big city. There were lots of buildings, tall ones, skyscrapers. And the cars and signs on the city streets looked old-fashioned, like they were from the past, like the 1940s. The other thing I noticed right away from this first image, just when the scene started, was that the city seemed gloomy. You couldn't see much because it was, well, there was mostly darkness rather than sunlight, and there was only just a little bit of light from the street lamps. On top of that, it was raining and kind of foggy. All of these details worked together to create a dark, gloomy, mysterious feeling. So then, when the action started and it showed detectives talking to each other in an office, I already knew that the office was located in a tall building in a big city sometime in the 1940s. And I had a good idea that the events that'd be taking place would be pretty dark and mysterious because of the shot, the image I saw at the beginning of the scene.
Using the professor's example, explain what an establishing shot is and how it is used.
Begin to prepare your response after the beep. Begin speaking after the beep.
An establishing shot is the first shot in a movie that a lot of the directors use. The establishing shot is it is showing the first details and very important details about the story of the movie, like where it is take place and when. For example, I can talk about the professor's example when he said that he saw a movie recently that his establishing shot was showing a city in the dark and it was raining. And he knew already it was in the 1940s because of signs and people that looked like in the 1940s, and this is how he knew most of the movie experience already.
In this question, you will listen to part of a lecture and answer a question about it. After you hear the question, you will have 20 seconds to prepare a response and 60 seconds to record the response. Listen to part of a lecture in a biology class.
We all know that insects like to eat plants. But some plants have been able to develop ways to protect themselves from insects. Today I'm going to talk about some ways plants defend themselves. Now, some plants have physical features that prevent insects from landing on them. Like the passion plant, for example. Its leaves have little spiky hairs all over them. They're like spikes sticking out of the plant that are so numerous and dense that they prevent insects from landing on the leaves. Basically, there's just no room for the insect to land. And since insects can't land on the leaves, they can't eat them. So the little hairs serve as a physical feature that helps protect the passion plant from insects. All right, but other plants protect themselves using chemical defenses, like the potato plant. The potato plant's able to release a chemical throughout its leaf system whenever an insect attacks it, starts eating the leaf. So, say an insect starts eating a potato plant's leaf. That will cause the plant to react by releasing a chemical throughout its leaf system. The insect swallows this chemical as it eats, and this chemical discourages the insect from wanting to eat any more of the plant. How? Well, the substance makes the insect feel full, like it's already had enough to eat. The insect no longer feels hungry, so it stops eating the plant. So, by emitting this chemical, the potato plant protects itself from insects.
Using points from the lecture, explain how the passion plant and the potato plant defend themselves from insects.
Begin to prepare your response after the beep. Begin speaking after the beep.
The passion plant has special hairs on his body that make it's very hard for insects to land on. That way they can't eat it. The potato plant has some chemicals that he releases when insect tries to eat it, This chemical makes him think that he's not hungry anymore, and then he can just fly away. These are two ways that those plants, the passion plant and the potato plant, defend themselves from insects. And this is what the lecturer talked about.